Do you know that you can change your past? You can change how you tell your story of your past, and this can impact how you think and feel about yourself today and what you will and will not do in the future. My name's Ruth Duran, and I'm a certified life coach. I help African and Indian immigrants build the businesses and life that they desire. Today I want to share with you a concept that I have used many times before to change so much about my past. And I just in the last week have taken it to the next level, and it will transform my life even more. A little bit of a history. My mother passed away when I was 3. I was raised in Kenya, Africa, and I moved to the United States when I was 18 years old. For 43 years, I retold the story. I reiterated the story of my life in a way that really disempowered me, really had me feeling grief and pain and stuck in negative emotion. And I use the concept that I'm going to teach you today, how to change the story of my life. And actually, in the last week, how to identify, change my identity and my self-concept in a way that's going to really change my life forever. And so, my friends, when we look at our past and we tell the story of our past, so many of us know that we think that we cannot change the story of our past. So many of us are just reiterating the story in a way that really hurts and disempowers us. And we really look at, when we're looking at what we're doing today, we look to our past to identify whether we can do something. I'm also a trained accountant, and in accounting school, we're taught to look to the past for evidence of the future. And so I wasn't realizing that I was still doing that in so many aspects of my life until this last week. And so now I am consciously finding how I am reiterating the story, how I am telling the story, and looking to, is that helpful? And so I've decided if I'm going to spend any amount of time retelling the story of my past, I'm going to choose consciously and deliberately if it's going to help me and who it's going to create in my life today and in my future. So for example, with the story of where I told myself, well, my mother died when I was 3, and that I was a victim of my mother dying. I actually used to tell myself my mother abandoned me. And then I started to realize, no, her life completed when it completed. And when I was raised by a stepmother, I used to tell myself that it's not fair. Why do I am the only one among all my friends not having a mother? And then I looked at it, and I looked at the woman who was chosen to be my stepmother. Actually, the woman who chose to raise me, and just thinking of how powerful and how amazing she is. And so not only do I have the characteristics and this amazingness that was given to me by my biological mother and my biological grandmother, I then was blessed to have the strengths of a strong African woman. So when I tell that story, I feel so much gratitude. I feel blessed. I don't feel a victim of my past. I actually feel like I lucked out. How many people can say that? Very, very few. So even today, the way I keep retelling my story really empowers me, and you can do it too. And so our past can be whatever we want our past to be, because of how we choose to tell the story of our past. We can choose to tell the story in a way that disempowers us, or we can choose to tell the story in a way that empowers us. We can choose to tell the story in a way that we are the victim of the story, which is what I did for 43 years. Or we can choose to tell the story in a way where we are the hero of the story. And it's what I have been doing for the last 3 years. And actually, like I said, in the last week, my story has really changed and up leveled in a way I never even knew was possible. And so, my friends, your past does not exist. It only exists in your mind. And the way that you tell the story of your past is over. And your present and your future, you are able to choose what of your past you want to take with you into the present and to the future. Remember also, my friends, your future is in your imagination. When you are really looking at what you can and cannot do, you get to choose. Am I going to tell the story of that one time I tried something and I didn't get it? Or are you going to choose to tell the story of who you are today and why the next time you're going to go for something, you're going to get it? You get to decide. And remember, like I used to do for years, I used to argue with my past. And like Byron Katie says, when you argue for your past, you lose but 100% of the time. And so now I was arguing for my limitations. Now I'm arguing for where I can choose who I'm going to be and how I'm going to show up. And my friends, the past can be the last 5 minutes. The past can be the last year. The past can be the last 10 years. The past, like me, can be the last 43 years. You get to decide what the past is to you. You can use your mind to tell a very different story and about your past. Your mind is so magical. Your mind is like a goal-seeking device. If you tell it, go tell me how I am a victim of my circumstances. Go tell me how my past was so painful. It will go seek proof and evidence of that. Versus if you tell it, how was I the hero of my story? How was I strong because of my past? Your brain will go to seek proof and evidence to support that. Your brain is so amazing. So my friends, what story do you want to tell about your past? How do you want to reiterate your story? How do you want to feel about your past? And imagine, if you were telling the story where you are the victim and you feel like the victim, that becomes your identity, how you identify yourself. So when you go for something else in the future, you go with the identity of the victim of your story. Versus if you identify yourself as the hero, or if you identify yourself as a badass, if you identify yourself as a person who's always evolving, if you identify yourself as a person who no matter what, you'll fall down and you will dust yourself up and get back up and try again. If you identify yourself as a person who's always going to go back into the arena, get your ass whooped, and you're willing to do it again because of how much you love yourself, guess what you're going to do in the present, and guess what you're going to do in the future. Guess how you're going to think and feel about yourself. Guess what story you're going to tell about yourself. When somebody asks about you, which story do you get to tell? You can choose that, my friends. I'm doing it. I keep doing it, and it's really transforming my life and the results that I'm creating in my life. And so, my friends, your past exists only in your mind. Your future is in your imagination. Your future is for you for the taking. What story are you going to tell about yourself? What story are you going to choose about your past? How are you going to identify yourself if somebody asks, who are you? And so, my friends, we can choose anything. We can choose to retell the story regardless of what all the proof and evidence that our brain can find. But like I said earlier, your brain is a goal-seeking device. You send it to go find proof and evidence that you are the victim, it will find all the proof and evidence that you are a victim. If you send it to go find proof and evidence where you are a hero, where you are strong, where you keep evolving into the best version of yourself, guess what? It will give you all the proven evidence to support that. If you would like to dive deeper to really identify what is your self-concept, how do you think and feel about yourself, and is it going to help you create the results that you want, schedule a discovery call with me where we can dive deeper and identify what story are you telling yourself. Have a very blessed day. Bye-bye.